Welcome to the Anchor Your Retirement podcast. I'm your host, a little bit froggy today, Barbara Gullen, hanging out with the not so froggy, ever, always the prince, Tony Shore.
Right. Right. Actually, I've got a bit of a cold today myself. This weekend I helped my mother-in-law move her from her independent living apartment to a whole new facility across town into another apartment, and she had accumulated a lot of stuff.
That
And
happens.
and I was the kind of the main mover,
Oh
so to speak.
boy.
So I got to do all the heavy lifting and the packing and the getting the rental truck. And so I am wiped. I mean, I was up at
And
7 a.m. to get the truck, and I didn't get home and in bed until 9 p.m. and I worked all day.
oh
But
my
it
goodness.
was freezing here,
I
Barb.
was going to say it wasn't that warm for you, was it?
No, it was freezing with sleet and ice and snow. So we would go
Oh
into the
goodness.
building, and into the building, it was super hot in there, a senior
Mm,
living community. They set it about 80.
mhm.
And then you go work and you're sweating. So you take off your coat and your jacket, then you're carrying outside and it's freezing and it's slippery. So it made for a long day, but I shouldn't complain. I'm glad we got it all done. Everything
That's
worked
what
out.
it is.
Nobody got hurt. I think I did catch a bit of a cold though.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
so
we have been fighting the froggies down here.
yeah.
My daughter and her husband were both under the weather. I am supposed to go see my other daughter this weekend, so I have been laying low and trying to stay away from as many people as possible.
Good.
Because not only do I not want to carry a cold with me, but who likes to fly with a congested head? You know what
No,
I
you
mean?
don't want to do that. No.
No.
So
Now,
you
more.
definitely don't.
Yep, and this podcast will be airing right after Christmas or
Yeah.
thereabouts. Um,
Christmas. How about that? I mean,
I know.
Christmas.
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 we all remember Christmas.
Christmas.
I'll
Right?
remember.
Okay,
Yes.
Christmas. It's almost Christmas. It's almost Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Yes,
That's
and I
from
still have
about every
shopping.
movie out there.
I still have shopping to finish. So,
Oh no.
and I have not wrapped anything yet. So,
Oh no. Yeah, we're recording this before Christmas, but that's
we
not
are.
good.
We
That's
are,
not
and
good.
yeah, my work is cut out for me over the next few
Yeah.
days for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a lot of the shopping done, but I'm not finished.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I played it on the show before, but I just, Barb, I'm looking at you thinking you're about to say,
Hallelujah! Where's the Tylenol?
where's the
Pretty-
Tylenol?
pretty much, and especially after watching, we got to talk a little bit of football.
We definitely need to talk about football. It's Monday when we're recording this, the week before Christmas.
It is, and I'm trying to figure out why Nagy thought it was a good idea to go for it on 4th and 3 near midfield.
Crazy.
And we got a pretzeled quarterback out of the deal.
Ouch.
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll be back for next week's game.
I
They might hold him out a couple of games and save him for the playoffs.
They might. We've clinched playoffs. We haven't clinched home field advantage.
No.
And I think it's the Bills who are right behind us.
Yes.
And their schedule is oh so intense.
Yeah.
It's
that
the
was
Jets.
like watching the Super
No,
Bowl.
I'm being facetious. They have to play the Jets and the Patriots.
Oh, they're gonna. Yeah, I saw their schedule. They're gonna win out.
And we have Pittsburgh and 2 other teams that are formidable opponents that I can't remember right off the top of my head.
Well, that Bills Lions game was good though. That was like watching the Super Bowl right there. Those are 2 good teams.
I mean, and how many times do you score 42 points and lose a game?
Yeah. Detroit managed it, but then they also did middle of the game. They tried an onside kick in the middle of the game. as a trick play. That
Yes.
coach is getting ripped for that loss today.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried some crazy things, but that's interesting. But my team hasn't played yet. The Minnesota Vikings.
I was going to say they play tonight, don't
They
they?
play tonight against the Chicago Bears and in Minnesota. So we should win this game,
Mhm.
but you never know. They're a tough divisional opponent for us. Always has been.
And the Bears, even when they're out, are never out.
Yeah, and they can be spoilers. They
Yeah,
can't make
I
the
was going to
playoffs,
say
but
they are
they're
good
gonna
at delivering that last minute upset that you're not anticipating.
Yep.
Kind of like the Cubs have been known to do.
Yep, the Cubbies.
The Cubbies.
Chicago's famous for it in all their
Yes,
sports. So
they
yeah.
are.
Yeah.
We don't talk about the White Sox that much on this podcast.
Oh, okay. Go Cubbies.
And this is the last time you and I are going to visit before the end of the year.
Yeah, it is. This is it.
This is
Barb,
it.
it's been a great year of shows.
It has been.
And
It's been a
I've learned a
blast.
lot from you. I really have. More about gardening than finance, but I've
I
learned.
was
a
going to
lot
say
from
we
you.
need to go back to my,
I'm kidding.
to my silly jokes. Remember my rabbit joke?
How could I forget?
How do you
My
catch a unique
therapist
rabbit?
hasn't even been able to
Oh,
help you remember
please.
forget that one. I'm kidding. I go to my therapist and he goes, "Wow, Tony, you're having issues. What's going on?" And I go, "Well, I record each week with Barb Gullen." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
And that's the bright spot in your week.
It is actually. It's the one thing I look forward to. It's the one thing I look forward to each week, Barb. So, but today it's funny because you hear on every show and every show I've been a part of lately, all they're talking about, if you tune into a podcast, or especially finances, but even on TV or CNBC, articles you see online are year-end financial planning, year-end tax tips, RMDs. It's all the same.
Yeah, it
Right?
is. And, all good information.
Yeah.
Not going to discredit that.
Yeah, you need to know it. We give it out here on this show.
Yeah, but there's only so many ways you can say it. So you and I are going to take a left turn today.
Okay.
And we're going to tell you what everybody else is not talking about at the end of the year.
Like how much pizza you're going to eat in the new year. Is that, or how to write off the pizza buffet on your tax?
I am
These
not
are
an
things people
accountant
are
and I don't
talking
play
about.
one on TV. But the first thing I am going to talk about is saving. Okay. There are a lot of people that fund an outside IRA or a Roth IRA outside their jobs.
Yep.
And if you get a Christmas bonus or something this year, I want you to realize that you don't have to wait all year to fund your IRA.
Oh, you don't just do it at the end of the year?
Did you know that if you put the money in at the beginning of the year, it gets to work for you for a whole year?
There you go.
There are so many people out there that wait right until it's time to file their tax return or wait until the end of the year. Now, if you've already funded your IRA this year, folks, you need to wait until after January 1st to put that next funding in. But if you've got the Christmas bonus, if you've got the wiggle room in your budget, put that money to work for you sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
That sounds great. That's really good advice. And it is funny because, you get around November and then you start hearing about this. And then especially in December, oh my goodness, the end of the year is coming. How can I minimize that tax burden?
Right.
But you should be thinking that way all year long. Why just the last few weeks of the year is what you're saying.
Yes.
Fund it, make sure that money's working for you all year. And you're
not just at
taking
the last minute.
You're taking advantage of all the possibilities.
Yeah. It's just little changes in habits can create greater levels of success.
Sure.
I'm not promising you that, but set yourself up for success rather than panicking and waiting until the last minute.
There you go. Don't panic. That's always
Right.
good advice. And don't wait till the last minute. There
Right.
you go.
And, next year, for those of you that are turning 73 in 2025, when you have to start taking those required minimum distributions on your IRAs, did you know you don't have to wait until your 73rd birthday if you're turning 73 in that year?
Oh, you can give it that the year you turn
The year
73,
you turn 73 is when you have to take that deduction.
starting January 1st of that year, right?
Correct. And especially if you are somebody who is blessed enough financially where you don't need that money and you're going to be doing some charitable giving or some directed giving with that. And if you don't know how to do that, then please reach out to our offices and one of our fiduciaries will help you with that. But why wait until the last minute? Why not give that charity those resources to use that much sooner?
Yeah, there you go. Well, that makes perfect sense, and that's a win-win. And it is funny because the only time I hear typically about qualified charitable distributions or giving or using your RMD for that is toward the end of the year. That's when everybody talks about it.
Right. And what I want you to start doing is thinking about it now and thinking about it ahead of time.
Sure.
Not only does that give you time to make sure the money's going where you want it to go, where you're not making a last minute impulsive decision. But you get the opportunity then to maybe look at a couple of different charities. You've got time to have a conversation with your advisor about where the money is going, should go, shouldn't go. You'll probably have to wait until you get that end of year valuation letter so that you're sure that you're taking out the proper amount for your required minimum distribution. But you could do that in February.
Right.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of charitable giving that happens during the holiday season at the bulk at the end of the year. And then they are scrambling because they're in a lull. So they're trying to make that money last through the rest of the year because a lot of times charitable giving can drop off quite a bit outside of the holiday season.
Hmm. Yeah, it really can. I mean, this is when it happens, but be thinking about it all year long because that really helps the charity out too, like you
It
mentioned,
does.
because they have the money and can put it in there, kind of be earning money on that money and utilizing it.
Right. Or knowing that they have that money in hand if they're trying to hire additional staff or plan additional activities because, inflation affects everybody, including nonprofit organizations.
Oh, yeah, especially. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a really good point, Barb. And I think a lot of people miss this and we get in this mindset of, okay, end of the year, got to figure out my what I'm doing with this
Mhm.
money and how I'm going to be tax efficient with it, because now is the time we start thinking about taxes each year.
Right. Right. And if we started thinking about taxes and made it kind of a month by month, a year long thing, as a business owner, I'm kind of in that mindset because
Sure.
there's stuff that I have to do on a monthly basis. So, unlike a lot of people listening to this podcast, I talk to my accountant once or twice a month at least.
Yeah. Smart.
But it's worth it to start, evaluating, perhaps there's a charity out there, give yourself the time to do a little research and find maybe a lesser known charity that aligns with your values and is something or an organization you really want to support.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I know you help your clients with that, or if our listeners have questions about charitable contributions or contributions to their IRAs, you're more than happy to help them.
We
But
are.
start January 1st. Don't wait until December to do that.
Right. Right. And something else that they are not talking about at the end of the year is that the scams and the people trying to steal your money don't stop on January 1st.
No, that's true. We do hear a lot at the end of the year about scammers
Mhm.
and people being taken advantage of and all the scams that are going on. But they're going on year round, so you have to be diligent all the time nowadays.
Yeah,
for that.
even yesterday, I got a text message from somebody out of the blue asking if they could come pick up the Christmas decorations that they had ordered. And then they sent another one using a name, and I'm like, I am not that person.
Yeah.
And then that number just kept messaging me back over and over and over again. They're trying to engage you in some sort of conversation.
Yep.
It never leads to anything good.
Nope. Nope. If you don't know them, just delete it.
Absolutely.
If it's important, it'll get figured out.
And if it's important, they will call.
Yeah.
However, as I'm saying that, understand that no law enforcement agency, no government agency is going to ask you to go out and buy a bunch of gift cards to settle a debt.
Yeah. And no major company is going to call you on the phone either, like Microsoft or Apple
No.
or Amazon or the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. They won't call you.
No, they won't. And perhaps let's end let's end the podcast today. As I said, I'm a little froggy.
Yeah. That's okay.
Sorry. But let's end the podcast today talking about something that you should start doing for the end of the year and carry on into the following year.
What's that?
That is to get your ducks in a row when it comes to money. And not only money, but organizing your life and putting it in some centrally located place. You know, we have a 100% mortality rate in our population. I don't know if
Yes.
most people act that way, but
Right.
you know, I have helped clients who had everything all lined up and ready to go. And I have gotten phone calls from other people that are like, we were going through a stack of paper and we found your name, and this person passed away 2 months ago, and so on and so on.
Wow.
Yes. So there are lots of tools out there.
Yep.
Not the least of which is a book that I've written called When I Die, Look Here First. However, we're coming out with a new and updated edition of that. I was just proofreading that earlier today.
Can't wait to get my copy.
But it gives you a place to put everything down. And it's not only where your accounts are, but who your doctors are, where your safe deposit box is located. Who have you talked to and has agreed to take care of your pets in the event that something happens to you? And who is the veterinarian for said pet? Things that we don't think about until it's too late. And, you know, questions that we don't think to ask until the person isn't there to answer them anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Don't
three
leave your family in a bad situation. Get those ducks in a row. I like that.
Right. And, you know, it's something, don't sit down and do it all at once unless you've got that personality where you have to go from point A to point B, because it's a lot of work and it's not easy work. You know, it's going to drain your brain a little bit. But over the next few weeks, and especially as you're getting ready, you know, in the next few weeks, you're going to be getting all of those documents, all the 1099s and year-end statements for all of your accounts. As they come in, just add them to the book or add them to a list somewhere. Even if you just go out and buy a 99-cent spiral notebook when you're at the grocery store, just have it in one central place that you have everything documented. And then the next important thing to do with that is to tell somebody that that book exists and tell them where it is.
That's huge. That's huge. When do you think the updated version of your book will be available for our listeners out there?
We are proofreading it right now. So I am hoping that within the next 2 weeks, it will be available out on Amazon.
Okay.
Hopefully, maybe even by the time this podcast airs, we will have gotten it uploaded and gotten it through the publishing process so that it can be ordered. Amazon makes that so much easier than it used to be back in the day
Yeah.
when you needed an agent and a publisher and all of those things. So, it will. And as we get that updated, we will add that link to the show notes here on the podcast.
good. Yep.
Because I think that, sometimes the greatest gifts we leave aren't the things, and the things of greatest value are the things that create peace of mind.
Yes. Yep.
You
Getting
know.
your ducks in a row is probably the best gift you could give your family.
It really is. I've seen what it's like when somebody doesn't have things organized. I have been in the place where I've had to go through a friend's house and try to find things like durable powers of attorney and life insurance policies that should have been acquired that weren't. And then to have to, unfortunately, deliver that message that what we were hoping for didn't exist,
Yeah.
and made a difficult situation just that much more cumbersome because things weren't ready to go.
Yeah. That's tough. That's tough. So get those ducks in a row. So before we go, Barb, how can our listeners do that?
Well, you can always, to start out with making sure your financial ducks are in a row, reach out to us at anchoryourretirement.com or call us at area code 913-553-6222. You'll be able to find our book out on Amazon.com. And like I said, once we have a link, we will add that to the show notes here. And other than that, we're hoping that you guys have the safest and happiest of New Year's.
Yeah.
And we look forward to visiting with you again in 2025 with some fantastic podcast topics.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun in the new year, a lot of very important information as well.
Mhm.
Barb, hope your holidays go well. And it's been a
You
great
too.
year with you.
It has been a great year.
Yeah.
On that note about next year, it is the last year that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act reduced tax brackets are going to be in effect. Those are going to sunset at the end of 2025.
Yep.
2025 is a year where you really need to look at your finances and look at your retirement accounts and make sure that you are set up in as tax-friendly and tax-advantaged as you can possibly be.
Yep, exactly. That is huge. So pick up the phone, give Barb and her team a call there at BG Wealth. It's 913-553-6222.
Yep.
All right. Barb, hope you're feeling better. And I'll talk
You
to you
too,
in the
Tony.
new year. And listeners, have a great holiday season, and we'll talk to you next year. That does it for today's episode of Anchor Your Retirement with our host, Barb Gullen.
We'll see you soon.